improve. But the question that I want to discuss today is, why would anybody want to become a yoga teacher? So, I mean, I can start immediately with my example. Why did I decide to become a yoga teacher? Well, it's got a fair history to it. I've worked for very many corporate companies, worked with people that I didn't even like. So I have to spend 8 hours in an office and all that. It got to a point where I began to realize that if I stayed doing what I'm doing, I think my life is not going to be very productive. Yeah, I was meeting the numbers, I was earning the money, we were having the holidays and all that, but it wasn't self-satisfying. So again, I circle back. Why would you want to become a yoga teacher? Well, first and foremost, I want to say it's a great way of making a living. I am the case in point. I moved from a corporate salary into my yoga. Yes, I had to make a lot of changes along the way, but life is good as a yoga teacher. I decided to do that when I was 51, had enough, and this was about time to change. So, as I say, it's a great way to make a living, and it's a wonderful way for returning or serving the community. So one of the comments I make as often as I can possibly make is, become the front line. The yoga teachers are the front line of the National Health Service, or whichever health service you are in. You become the front line as a yoga teacher.
So can you explain a bit more about that? What would it mean to be the front line of the health service these days? What's brought that statement about?
Well, it's a good question, and I think we need to really tune into it. You don't have to be a medic to be the front line. Yeah, we already have those, the ambulance and medics at the front end, but those are all the people within the health service who are responding to a situation. So a car accident, a medic appears, and then somebody has a heart attack, a medic comes up, or defibrillator is used. These people are, lovely as they are, and we need them, they are responding to a situation. Whereas as a yoga teacher, we are already working with people to improve their existing health. Now, they may have some hip pains. I know 80–90% of our population has backache issues. Then we got arthritis, we got digestive issues, we got stress, we got frozen shoulders, we got bad knees. All these, the NHS hasn't yet looked at. So as a yoga teacher, as students that come into my class and they say, oh, Sam, it's been really, the shoulder is really not good. That gives me the clue straight away as to what 2 or 3 postures I would introduce in the class. And then at the end of the class, see if there has been any resolution. It's never an instant, but giving somebody a tool to be able to do the dolphin series, if both the shoulders are bad, or even one shoulder is, that's a tool. They've seen it, how it's demonstrated it, they've done it in the class. If they continue to do it at home, then pretty soon the frozen shoulder goes. Doesn't matter where it goes, it's not there anymore. That is what I mean by becoming the front line of our health services. So when you use the belt and use the hip flexors and all of that, you are enabling the movement of the ball and socket joint in the hip to its maximum range, plus stretching the muscles in it. So that's what I mean by becoming part of the front line of your health service. And you are out in the community. You see people more before they would choose to go and see their doctor or their hospital. And as it is now, and it will continue that way, is it's not that easy to go and see your health service anyway. So as a yoga teacher, delivering a service, getting paid for it, remember, this is a good business. If I stand there and give my best to whatever the numbers in the class, remember, all of them are paying. They're registering, paying, and I go home with a cash box full of hopefully tenors and 20s. See, so it's a good way of making a living. I'm not saying it makes it to a point where it matches what would be your corporate, but your corporate life was very different. I'm talking to myself. My corporate life was very different. It was suits and supercars and all this kind of, eating and drinking and all of that kind. All of that has changed, because what I want at the end is what you see. Yes, I would like everybody in their 70s, I'm close to mid 70s, to be able to be alive. Yeah, I'm looking at towards late afternoon, early evening of my life, and I want to feel alive. Does that answer your question?
Well, exactly. And well, I'm definitely heading in that direction, as everybody is. And I can certainly say, hand on heart, that your example as a yoga teacher, a thriving business, and doing something you love really shines through. It makes the classes really welcoming. And as you were saying, you get people coming through that have the bad shoulders, knees, who've had hip surgery and things like that. And actually, the world of yoga is changing and evolving to become and include more of the community. Whereas I think in the past, or maybe a little bit still at the moment, it has been felt like normal people were not included, and you had to be super bendy and super flexible and a certain stereotype to join a yoga class, and in fact to become a teacher. And actually, I know that at our school, we dispel all of those myths. None of that is true whatsoever. We welcome everybody, anybody, all shapes, sizes, states of physical health. You don't have to be super healthy to be a yoga teacher. That's nonsense. You work with what you've got. And so
it's
learning how to deal with these things is brilliant.
Yeah, it's leading on to, why become a yoga teacher? Then the question is, who can become a yoga teacher? So
yes, exactly.
In my eyes and in my experience, nothing should get in the way. No age, no gender, no ailments. I've had one wonderful yoga teacher in London, and she was teaching from a wheelchair. Size of the person, what difference does it make? If you are committed to delivering and being a yoga teacher, and because you want to prevent or be part of the front line of the health service, these are good enough reasons. Whether you are black, brown, pink, what difference does it make? If you buy into that, I want to be a yoga teacher. Now, people walk around, you have friends who say, well, I'm an electrician, well, I'm a surgeon, I'm a doctor. You turn around and say, I'm a yoga teacher. So as far as I'm concerned, it has an identification. The plumber, we know. The surgeon, we know. The doctor, we know. The yoga teacher, yes, more of the community needs to know. And we do not have, in my opinion, enough yoga teachers. There aren't. I mean, if I want to go...
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you see, that's... so the gender and all that, I think people need to address that a little bit. Do you not hire a plumber or go to a doctor who's too big size, for example?
Exactly.
Or is a different color? Do you choose that? No. So as a yoga teacher, get into tune with why become a yoga teacher? Who can become a yoga teacher? And see it as a way of life and as an identification. As an identification, I am a yoga teacher in its own right. So whether I'm big, tall, brown, pink, doesn't matter. if I stand in a class, have an intention, and I have been trained very well, my own teacher, wonderful. If you get good training, and the training is for you to deliver yoga, not just do yoga, not the fancy postures. What does the community need? Well, today I'm going to work with lower back pains, shoulders, and knees. So you choose 4 or 5 of the postures which you have been taught how to teach. And whether you are big, small, bendy or not bendy, all of these are irrelevant subjects. If you take
they definitely are. And you know, I know from experience that one day I can be quite bendy and the next day not so much. So it doesn't really matter, because every time you come to your mat, it's a different scenario anyway. So yes, it's all irrelevant, all of that kind of nonsense. And also for me, as well as being able to work with so many different people and the reward of seeing the progress in those people has got to be up there with one of, you know, I mean, I've got many reasons why I became a yoga teacher, but yeah, the rewards are definitely fundamentally such a huge thing. As you said, it's different to being in the corporate world. You're doing something for yourself, you're doing something for the community. It's that is very often much better than a paycheck that just gets spent on trying to reverse what you've spent your whole day doing. So
well, and it goes further. You picked it up on the corporate world. I wouldn't have survived to my 65s or 70s. I know I wouldn't have, because of the lifestyle. Okay. Now I'm looking at however many more years I may have, I am going to be working and being the part of that front line till the very last minute. That to me sounds like joy. So I'm not going to sit somewhere and vegetate or you know, look for others to make a difference in my life. So become a yoga teacher. Don't even consider who should become a yoga teacher. Everybody should become a yoga teacher. And why? The why is I want to make a decent living. I want a good health myself. I want to give service to my community, and all of that kind of. And my own experiences have led to several things. You know, just picking up on 1 or 2 of the items. I can just, once the experience is there. For example, this is with my own back. I ended up writing my own books. And that's what you will end up doing with your experiences, whether you write about arthritis, whether you write about somebody's knee that you helped fix before they had to go to the NHS. You know, jot these things down. People send me comments having read that book, and I can see, yeah, okay, that's what it did for me. I'm pleased that it's doing the same for you. That's it. Buy the book or join my class. Either way, I am making a decent living. And that's why.
And you're changing lives. Yeah.
I'm changing lives, absolutely. Avoiding, if people don't have to go to their GPs or their hospitals, the front line makes a difference. Because the front line from an ambulance actually say, if they give the right injection, the heart attack is not as bad by the time he arrives or she arrives at the hospital. That's front line. As far as I'm concerned, we're not that severe. We don't give any injections. We don't. Yes, we teach people to manage their health a little bit more.